It's not okay though. It's going to echo. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. I guess my earbuds aren't working, so I wish I could get that to go, but I don't know that I can. Let's see if I can figure something out here. I don't, can I really not figure this out? Close this. Okay. All right. I was on there. That's all it will let me do. Okay. All right. Well,
Hi.
we're just gonna have to live with it. Sorry about that. All if I sound echoey, but we'll just go with it. Welcome to the live stream today. We have our question and answer session with Gwen, and kind of a follow up on that educational series that you did. What did you think about
Right.
doing that for me, actually, Gwen?
It was wonderful. I mean, it was like you didn't ask me to. It was an impromptu in our conversation. And it
Yeah.
comes natural for me because I do that a lot. And that's what I built my business around is that piece of giving people tools and information. So it came very natural to me. And I figured out the technology and worked it out. And I think the
Yeah.
best part was, which we wanted to talk about, is what that month allowed you to do.
Yeah, I did. Well, and I first even want to talk about before just that decision a little bit. I mean, I
Mhm.
think I touched base on it certainly with kind of some introductions and things, but I want to talk about a little bit more kind of things that were just sort of happening. And we had some stuff going on with the family that I really felt like I wanted to address and be present for a little bit more. And so that was important. And I think I was just starting to feel a little worn down, to be honest. I really
Mhm.
did. It was, when you feel like it's just the same every week. Like I've been doing that for 6.5 years, every week, kind of the same thing. And it was just, I don't know. I think it was just getting a little bit hard. I talked to Stephanie about it. So those of you that listened to the first episode I did back, I talked about that quite a bit with Stephanie about how initially with the podcast, it really gave me such an outlet for my grief and was so helpful to me in my grief, which was amazing.
Mm.
Um, oh, I am seeing that we have a banner going up for Eric's podcast thing, and that shouldn't be on there. Um, I have no idea how to turn that
I
off.
wondered that, but my vision's so
Look at, guess what? I just switched it. So here we go. We're on the
listen,
right one now. Okay. Are you still there, Gwen? I hope you've frozen now. Are you
okay.
still there? Okay, now you're back.
I
Okay.
am.
All right, great. Okay, so I switched that.
Oh,
So I think
I
we're
am.
okay there.
Okay.
So we're still trying to figure out technological stuff. Sorry to all of you. There aren't that many people on right now, so I don't have to apologize to too many people right now. But anyway, you all know that I'm not the best with technology. So anyway, I was feeling a little bit. It changed for me, right? It was this outlet. It was really amazing and wonderful and helpful. But kind of the further along you get in grief, maybe you need a little less time in it or things like that. And it would sometimes almost bring me down a little bit. And I didn't like that, right? I don't like that.
Mhm.
Um, but it's
Mhm.
hard to know. It's hard to get that balance and know what's right.
Mhm.
So, with all of these feelings, and what happened was, of course, I normally have months of guests set up, definitely at least a couple months. So, they're kind of weeks set up ahead of time. And all of a sudden, I hit the point where I had nobody. I mean, I had literally nobody. I called
Mhm.
you in the middle of January. I had one or two lined up, and I didn't even have one for the last week of January, and that was crazy. Like I've just never had that in the last 5+ years. I've never gone
Mhm.
a stretch like that. And I guess I sort of seemed like maybe God was telling me, "Hey Marcy, you need to take a break." You know? And I
Mhm.
had thought in the
Mhm.
past, occasionally when I'd felt a little overwhelmed, I thought, I wonder if Gwen would just do one. but I've never asked you because I've never wanted to ask you. Like, I don't want to ask her that. I don't want to ask her that. And as you just said, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you at
Mm-mm.
all. No, you just volunteered. You just like threw it out there exactly what I needed. So that was beautiful. And thank you for that. And it really was a good time of respite for me. It really was. I really needed that. I
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the thing that stresses me out the most are some of these logistical things like I'm going to miss an email. I'm going to, I'm a little ADHD myself. I'm sure probably all the listeners probably have figured that out. But for me, I get worried about missing things and things getting past me and those kind of stresses and all of the things that I have to do and making sure that everything's going okay. So to have a little bit of that where I sort of let go of that and all I had to do really
Mm-hmm.
was listen to the episode that you did, do a little bit of a write up for it, and put it out. Like that was so much
Mm-hmm.
easier than my normal process, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway,
You
gave me a month.
It's so interesting as you say that, like, taking a break from something is good. Like, sabbaticals, just taking a season back, whether you've had a pastor or someone in ministry who's been giving and giving to people, even though it feeds your soul, it costs your soul something when you're that intensely connected to people. And I was thinking of the expression, even sunshine burns if you get too much. Like, there's some good things that hurt us, right?
Right.
So sometimes we have to step back. So interesting that you say that because February was your month. And in March, my husband and I
That
went
was
to
yours.
Florida for the month of March.
Uh-huh.
And I still saw a few clients and I checked emails. But one of the things that I unplug from is all year most of the books I read are books that are recommended to me and they're all about grief, right? Like they're every in service I go to keep my credit, credentials updated. It's all about social work, therapy,
Mhm.
EMDR, whatever it is. So when I'm on vacation, I get to just read. Well, a month's vacation, I read 5 books, 5 books. And just to let my brain do something. But what I was also thinking is I did have a few friends that came to visit and they were only there for like 6 days. So the first 3 days, all they did was want to be in the sun. And then they got too much sun. And the next two, we had to stay out of the sun.
Uh-huh.
So that like sometimes it's just too much. Like you can't do everything that you want. Like they wanted to soak up all the sun in those 6 days, but it really wasn't good for their bodies. So
Mhm. Mhm.
like there are times we just need to step away from something for a little bit, and that's
Yeah.
healthy
Yeah. And I feel kind of
because
bad even
I think
saying
the
it
other
because I
risk
love the
is
podcast. I love doing the podcast. I love everything about it. But it really was a, good for me to take a little bit of time away from that. It really was. So and then it
yeah.
got me thinking. It got me thinking kind of
Um,
about, well, what do I want things to look like when I go back? Maybe I should try doing things a little bit differently. And so I am going to do that and I have done that. Um normally I never like to do more than one podcast on a day because it just gets a little bit emotionally draining for me. But I
mhm.
did plan like 5 in a week, which uh
Mm,
turns out 5 in a week is a little bit much because the fifth one I cried almost the whole time. I think that was maybe the one that went out last week. Yeah, I think it was. So if you notice, I cried
mhm.
pretty much the whole episode last week. So there's that. And then I thought, and now it got me to think like, okay, I think maybe 4 is your limit to do in a week. But really, if I do 4 in a week and I do 1 week a month, we're good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think
And
that's
then you
going to
can
be
have
a
the rest
little
of the
bit better.
time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So
Mhm.
I've done
Yep.
2 of those weeks so far. I did 5 the first week. I did 4 the second week, and I definitely think 4 was a little bit better. Um, and then I've got another week coming up here next week. Actually, I do my third week of doing interviews, and And the other reason why I so felt like it was God wanting me to take this time is because, as I said to you, I had nobody scheduled. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I After I had my break, probably about 2 weeks into the break, the emails just started coming, and now I have people booked into July. So
Wow.
I so I have booked, I booked my February week of interviews, my because I had to do the end of February to get going again for March. And my March week, I have my April week coming up next week, and now I'm starting to schedule my May week. I've got enough people, I just haven't slotted them right in. Um, and that's putting me through, to have things through about middle of July. So it's just kind of beautiful. I mean, it's just working out
Mm-hmm.
great so far, and I feel really good about it. I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
I needed the break almost to just do a little reset and a little think, like, how
Mm-hmm.
do I want to do this now? How should this work moving
Mm-hmm.
forward? And what's a little bit maybe healthier for me? So, um,
Yep.
anyway, but I still answer emails like normal. I still do things like normal. It's just that I have a little more free time on some of those weeks where I'm not doing interviews to be able to do that. And hopefully for me too, that will help me stay more caught up on emails and not miss someone and not make kind of those errors that I'm always worried about making if I
Mm-hmm.
have other weeks that are not
Mm-hmm.
quite so full
Right.
of also doing interviews at the same time. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's kind of the
Right.
hope.
Yeah. And you know, yeah. And when you're in a helping situation and you miss an email, and if you were to just cast, one of the things with that is then it leaves people like, oh, almost feeling abandoned, right? So we
Yeah.
never want to abandon people because we want to
No.
stay, and God clearly made it so that you could stay by having the reset. But if we miss an email, I have had that happen a couple times where I think, I check it on my phone and I go, as soon as I get to my
Yeah.
desk, I'm going to take care of that. And in the
Uh-huh. And then
busyness
you
of life,
don't, right?
and
Yeah.
I feel so bad. Like I explained to people, like, yeah, that's not my norm because I never want them to feel they finally reached out for help. And then, I mean, life
Yeah.
happens. And if I've just had to be honest about it and just say,
Right.
I'm so sorry you were brave enough to reach out. And but I know
And
what that feels like. And it feels
yeah.
sometimes really heavy.
Yeah. And I'm not checking answering emails every day. I mean, that's just not possible for me with my work schedule and all this other stuff going on. I can't, but hopefully I can have
Hmm.
those days where I can do
Right.
that a little bit easier, that I'm not doing interviews at those times. So I like that. Okay,
Right.
so this episode really was supposed to be kind
Yeah.
of a question and
Um,
answer follow up after your educational series, really, right? So for people who are
mhm.
watching right now, if you have a follow up question for Gwen or even a question for me, honestly, it can be about the educational series, it can be about anything, it does not matter. Uh, Post it now. Usually with these live streams, we have a specific topic and I write some specific questions down that we kind of put out the week before, but I didn't do that.
Mhm.
So, uh, anyway, so I did not do that ahead of time. So because of that, we don't have like questions set up. So we kind of really need to rely on people doing that right now. And I guess we have one. So we have a question coming from Instagram
Okay.
from Julie, said maybe planning a break like you just had every year might be a tradition for yourself. I mean, and that's a
Hmm.
good thought. She's
Oh,
not
that's
the
a neat
only one that
idea.
has asked me that. I has said that to me. I've had other people say that to me. Like, I think you probably need to do that again. So I don't know. This is now see
Mhm.
if you're up for
Yeah.
that, Gwen, to do something other times too. But
Oh,
I think that's probably
absolutely.
I think it's
Yeah.
probably is a good idea to think about doing a
Mhm.
little more of a break on a regular basis instead of every 6.5 years.
Right. I I have to laugh because when I said that I read 5 books on vacation being gone a month, I went to the library. I kind of have this genre that I like that just hopefully just kind of takes me away a little bit.
Mhm.
And in the 5 of the books, 2 of them were about death. And I was kind of like, that's not the break I wanted, but it was good to read about it different and just from a different perspective. Like someone died in both of
Oh.
them and they were grieving, and I'm like laughing, just saying, yeah, but I, so you build in a vacation every year in your job. So why not
Yeah.
build in a vacation in, what you're doing with the podcast? Because it's truly a labor of love. And like you said, it started to help yourself. Um, and the interesting thing about you, Marcy, is that this isn't the only thing that you do for bereaved people.
No.
You also lead the support group
Yep.
for Starlight
Which I
from
didn't stop doing
bereaved
that in
moms, or
February. I mean, that still happened in February for sure.
right,
So, and for those of you
right,
who
yep.
might be interested in doing that in a support group, and we're going to talk a little bit about support groups, I think, today, because we had some little backup
Yep.
conversation if people don't share any questions. So, but
Mm-hmm.
we do have support group coming up again here starting in a week or two. I've got to look at my calendar to see when they start up again, but
Okay.
starting up in May. And yeah, so starting up next Tuesday is my first group. They've got groups Monday nights, Tuesday day group is mine, and then Tuesday night. So if you want some more information on joining the Starlight Ministries virtual support groups, you can definitely do that by going to starlightmin.org, emailing Chris, and getting into one of those groups. I mean, they are coming up again, and it'll be our last session before summer. So that's a great opportunity to do
Mm-hmm.
that. But anyway, if you are interested in that, I would love to have more people. We would definitely welcome more people to come on into the group, but you
Mm-hmm.
just need to go to
Yeah.
starlightmin.org and talk with Chris and about getting registered.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
So that's what we were going to talk about. Is the reason I developed an educational piece to grief is because I realized that some people learn. I mean, everyone learns differently, right? Like we
Mhm.
have ways that which we want, to grieve. Some people are more instrumental than intuitive. They want tell me the steps, tell me what people say, what the research says, and that's why I developed that. So let's talk about support first before we talk about what we did in February. Is that what you're talking about in Starlight is when people are part of a group, it's peer led, so you're not a therapist, you are a bereaved mom who, leads the group. You have
Uh-huh.
materials that you follow. There's some kind of structure, but it's really for the group to share,
Yeah.
and people can say what they want to or not want to. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So the other
100%.
part is, have you had times, I mean, I've been leading support groups, but have you had times where you've had someone in the group that they really don't share, but they listen to everybody else?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
We've definitely had
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So if someone is thinking about joining a support group, is that um, you don't have to share if you don't want to. There is value in listening to other people as well.
Yes,
And
100%.
so
Mhm.
because I mean, some people want to be in a support group, but they feel pressure. Yeah. Um, Interesting is that when I lead an educational class and I explain that it is for me educating them, um, then they raise their hand and they say, well, when do we get to share? I say, well, not in this setting, right? Like this is
Yeah,
not the
right.
purpose, because there's other people who came for the class who do not want to share. They want to get the stuff and get out. And
Yeah.
so now when I do a live educational class, I follow it up with couple weeks of support where people can just spend time with me and tell their story, and they can be in a group setting. Um, so that's the difference. And that's what a support group's all about. There was a couple things I did want to say that I know you shared that there are virtual groups for bereaved parents, but if someone there has a parent who's widowed, like their own parents who are widowed or someone, they also have virtual groups for other types of losses at
Yeah, they
Starlight.
do.
Is that
Hmm.
correct as well?
Yeah, they do. Hmm.
Okay.
We
Okay.
used to
Yeah.
just have
Yeah. Mhm.
the parents group, and then they added the virtual groups
Mhm.
for widows and widowers, and now they even have a general loss group as well. So, so yeah, it's
That's
really, really
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a resource that people can share. Yeah. I
So
think
I
we
do
had a
want to
few comments
comment.
before I go on and
Yes.
talk. Keep
Y-
talking.
Yes, we do. We have some
Hmm.
comments. Dixie wrote in some comments. Just thank you for all you both do for grieving moms was her first comment. And then just talking a little more personally about she just passed the 7th year anniversary and the suffering has been horrible. Life goes on for everyone else, but feels like it stood
Hmm.
still at that time. And then just about the only small break in that suffering was listening to the podcast, and very grateful for that. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think, I mean,
Yeah.
talking about that suffering and touching on the suffering, because you that was one of your topics talking about when in
Hmm.
your
Yeah.
series. So maybe touch on that a little bit, just
Yeah.
about the suffering.
Right. I just had a bereaved parent reach out to me, and it's been close to 4 years, I think. And they had come to the educational class, they've come to some support things that I've done. And they said, why do I still have these days of suffering? And one of the things that I said to them is, I think it becomes more of a longing sometimes where it's not, I'm not saying she's not suffering, but the suffering when we're early in our grief is an intense, gut wrenching pain of
Hmm.
just not even believing this is really our life. But when, as Dixie mentioned, 7 years or this family 4 years, what that suffering becomes is a longing for our child,
Yeah.
right? Like that missing and realizing that we're always going to carry it.
Hmm. Hmm. And
I
that
hope that makes
longing does
sense.
not
But
go away. That longing does not
mm-mm,
go away.
mm-mm, not on this side of heaven. Mm-mm,
No.
nope.
And that's so hard.
And I do, yeah, it is. It is. I just did a video on my Facebook page this week. I posted last week was about relating grief like a rock in your pocket or a stone in your pocket.
Yeah.
That with
Hmm.
grief, it might not be as heavy, but it's always there. You can't take it
Hmm.
out. It's you always have to carry it, and some days it's lighter, and some days it's sharp, but you never get to not carry it.
I know. I love that
Mhm.
analogy. I've heard it so long ago about how that
Mhm.
rock starts off as like a huge boulder, like that you're just
Yeah.
dragging with you all the time, and it's really
Mhm.
all encompassing in your life, right? And it's just everything, and it takes every bit of strength
Mhm.
you have to just keep moving the boulder at all. And then that boulder, it just kind of
Mhm.
changes. It changes and it gets a little smaller. It's still with you. It's still always there, but it ends up being more of a rock, and sometimes even a rock that you can get in your pocket that you don't feel all the time. You don't
Mhm.
feel those sharp pokes on it
Yeah.
all the time, but sometimes, wow, it really just
Mhm.
pokes you and hurts really hard. And that's that feeling of suffering that I
Yeah.
think Dixie still talks about and still feel, and that I feel, right?
Right.
And even going back
Yeah.
to
Yep.
when I tried to do
I wanna
five
go to what
podcast episodes in a week, when it gets to that point of just going down that so much again and again and again, it's just there and it's just constantly poking me at that point, right? Hmm.
mhm. Something else Dixie said is the only break she gets is listening, and that's what support groups do. That's what the educational series does, is normalizes for us when we go, I'm not alone, or someone's
Yeah.
explaining. Because in the educational thing, the series that we did, and people can go back and listen to those episodes. I think they were um, 333 through 337, something like that.
Yeah.
They're under your
I think
recent
so.
episodes, if they miss them. But just when people hear something explained of why maybe we hurt the way we hurt, or why it might be taking longer for you, or why, some emotions are difficult, is it gives us a break, and it's like somebody else is carrying the stone with us, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think that is
Um,
Demi just wrote something that is exactly that, exactly what you just said. Said the only thing that has helped me ease my pain at the beginning of my grief was listening to Marcy speak to guests. This made me feel so less alone. She's listened to every single episode and her heart aches for all of our pain. But see, that's
mhm,
exactly what you talked about, not feeling alone. If you hear that
yeah.
and that resonates with you and like, okay, okay, she's feeling this too. Maybe this is normal. Maybe this is okay
Mhm.
because all these other people are feeling the same things that I'm feeling. It just makes you feel so much less alone. And it's such an isolating, grief is so isolating.
Right. Well, I love what Jody said. She said grief and loss taint everything. Like it is a
Yeah.
lens we look through. Like it affects everything. Even the best days and the happy occasions have had parts of them where the heartache comes back in full force. I always thought it would be start to fade after a certain amount of years, but it
Mm-hmm.
still feels heavier at times. I just know to expect it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I I
can I
love
share a
that. I
story with
love that
you?
she said that you that
Mhm.
having that expectation that she thought it would fade. I think that's what all of us maybe felt to an extent, right? If when you're
Mhm.
not bereaved, I think
Yeah.
you think that okay, you think to the old adage time heals all wounds, right? And you think this is a wound,
Right.
time is going to heal it. And other people think time is going to heal your wounds. But now it's just different. You just realize it is there. And that rock, back to the rock analogy, sometimes it feels heavy,
Mhm.
sometimes it feels sharp,
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't feel as heavy and sharp. But it's
Mhm.
expected and you know it's going to be there and you know the rock's never going away, right? Never.
Right. Yeah, and I use the analogy because I did a video on this too, because two family members had experienced cancer last year, and they got to ring the bell when they were cancer free and done with their treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, bereaved people never get to ring the bell. Like we have this
Yeah.
illusion that we're going to hit a finish line, that I'm not going to feel some of these things anymore. And then when we do, we realize that there's there's no finish line.
No, no, there isn't.
Mm-mm.
It's just changed
Um,
you forever and it's the way things are.
Yeah. Can I share something with you that I just thought of when I was reading both women's comments about listening to the support group, making them, or the podcast, not making them feel so all alone. So, our last week in Florida, my husband's fishing and he's catching a lot of fish, and people are drawn to him. And a little girl comes over on the beach and she's jabbering. I'm going to call her Annie. She's 10 years old. Annie
Okay.
just starts, "What kind of fish is that? I want to learn to fish." Blah 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 blah. And then Annie comes over to me and she says, "I said, well, are you on vacation?" And she said, "No, I'm a snowbird." She's 10. She's a snowbird. And I said, "Oh." And she told me where she lives, and way far away. And she said, "I'm homeschooled, so we came down here for a long time." And then she said, "Because my mom used to have 6 kids, and one of them died in May, and now she only has 5 kids." And then she looked at me and she said, "She's kind of raw. Do you know what raw is?" And I said, "I do know what raw is." And I said, "That's got to be." She said, "So we came down here so my mommy wasn't, you know." So I grabbed a piece of paper from my backpack and I just started writing about the podcast. And I said, to this sweet little girl, Annie, I said, "I think God wanted you to meet me today." And she goes, "What do you know about God?" And I said, "Well, I know he lives in my heart." She said, "Mine too." And she said, "Are you a Christian?" And she got all excited that I knew. So this little girl and I were bonded. And I said, "I believe that God wanted you to meet me today so that your mommy could have some support to not help her feel so raw." And the whole time I'm watching the mom watch us, like, what is that woman talking to my daughter about? So I
Yeah.
wrote down the podcast. I wrote how the episodes, how to find them. Read, I always tell people, read the bio, see which stories speak to you, blah, 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 blah. And I walked over with this little girl and said to the mother, and I told the mother, and the mother was completely overwhelmed. She said,
Oh,
"You don't know how bad I needed this." And I said, "God knew. I didn't know. I was just sitting there on the beach, but your little girl." And then when I told her that her little girl said, "My mommy's raw," she
yeah.
said, "I've never used those words." Like her little insightful mind knew that her mom needed to come down there. And
Oh my word,
so
Gwen.
I don't know if this woman's listening. I obviously changed her daughter's name, but just knowing. And then she said to me, "I have another friend whose child died, and I can help them too and tell them about the podcast." And I don't know if I'll ever see this. I
Oh,
probably will never see this mom. Maybe she'll reach out to me. I put my email down, but just the fact that she could listen and know she's not alone, just I don't know what I'd do without the podcast because I'd be stuck there not knowing what resource to give people.
oh, Gwen, that is so touching. I can't believe you waited to tell me in this when we're live with everybody. Now I'm crying, but
It
oh,
is.
thank you so much. It is, oh, that's just beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It turned
No,
out that
I
way. And
cried.
then,
I came home and I told my kids and yeah.
hmm,
Well, and if you had a listener a while ago, so I think I can talk about it because it's public. It's on the, it's out there.
yeah,
Um, and about her son, and right now I think her son's name. I want to say it was Josh, but now I can't
yeah,
remember her son's
yeah.
name.
No, it
Um,
is.
but and
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
we went to a conference and she felt like God hadn't really met her at the conference, but I offered to give her a ride to the airport. And on the way to the airport, she found out that I was a grief person and that God had provided this. And she's been on the podcast and she's helping so many other people. And I said
Hmm.
to her,
Do you know I
"God
emailed
loved
Ann
you so
today?
much that of all you did."
Yes, I did. I
Oh,
did email her today. Isn't that funny? Yeah.
oh, that's
Mhm.
awesome. But the fact that God loved her so much that I said that of all the people to offer you a ride to the airport after this conference, it's me. And that's the way
Yeah.
I felt about this mom on the beach. Of
Yeah.
all of the people that her daughter
Yeah.
could go up and just talk to. And that girl was so excited to walk me over to her mom, like she had just found the biggest thing on the beach. Like she was so happy to say, "Mom, this lady helps people."
Oh.
It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. So we've got a couple other
Okay, what?
comments here. I had one on
Me?
Instagram that just said so helpful. So great. Thank
Yes.
you for that. And then we have another one. Do you want to read Demi's comment
Good.
here too?
Yes. And it said, "I think that we are all experts in our own grief, and it is very helpful to have someone that is bereaved ahead of you, knowing that they can keep you going.
That they can keep
Um,
going. Yeah.
you will
You will
keep,
keep going as well. Hmm.
yes, and you will keep going as well." Yeah. Um, that is so true. And I always tell bereaved people, find someone a few miles ahead of you, a few years,
Yeah.
and look to them for encouragement. Yeah.
Hmm.
We're
Well,
not
because
meant to do
that's
this
that's what
alone.
Stephanie's been to
And I
me since the beginning, right? That's what she's been.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. Um that that's why I think having different ways. So you have the podcast where you can hear people's story. You have a support group you can go to. Sometimes people need one-on-one. You've been very honest about your one-on-ones, whether you've done some with me or you had your therapist that you worked with.
Uh-huh.
A lot of trauma
Well,
stuff people work
and
through.
obviously, people have you as a resource to other people,
Yes,
right? They
yes.
can go to Grief
And
Guide.
many of your listeners, yep,
And I know we do have
they do.
people certainly in common that have been on my podcast
Mhm.
and that have seen you, like many people I
Yeah.
know. Hmm.
And I think we should tell the listeners that I feel confident of keeping the coupons still, that if people want a discount to talk with me in those sessions, that we will, if they reach out to you or me, we'll make the
Yeah.
coupons available for the discount that were offered on the educational episodes in February, because I just feel so connected to this group that I want to
Yeah,
offer
I
that to
just had
people
someone
and just
email me recently, and I said that very thing, and I was like, didn't really run this past Gwen, but I think it will
yeah,
be okay.
no,
Like
yeah,
it's not far
absolutely.
gone from that, and I think you're a great resource to have for people. So I love that. I love
No.
being able to tell
And
people
you want
that.
to, yeah. And what's interesting is when on the backside of my website, I have to go in and put the coupon in, and it
Mhm.
asks how long you want the coupon to be valid. And I always write unlimited. I'm not going to say, oh, in 30 days that's going to expire, because that's not the way grief goes. So it's available if people want
Yes.
it.
Well, very good. Good. I appreciate that so much. And I know listeners appreciate it too. It's so funny because I've also often had people, especially local people,
Hmm.
they want to know like who my therapist is and see my therapist who is amazing, but she
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to deal with that at some point in time. Yeah.
I lost your volume there for a minute. Did you
Oh,
say she's retiring? Is that what you said?
I did say she's retiring. Yes, she's retiring. Did you know that?
Okay.
Nancy is
Yeah.
retiring? Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And I assume that's what you said. Yeah. And it's that's a loss too. It's a loss
Yeah,
for
it is a
me
loss.
and for you and for others, because when you have someone who's good and you want to refer and then you don't have those good referral
I know.
pools,
I know.
you know,
I know. It's
it's
hard.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad I've got you.
Mhm.
Don't retire, Gwen. Don't retire.
Thank you. Well, that's yeah. I still might take a little month break every once in a
I
while, but I
like it.
won't
I like
retire
the month
yet.
break.
Yeah.
We might both have to do a month break. We just
Mhm.
can't take the same month.
Yeah. Right. Right.
We cannot take the same month.
No,
That's
it's
going to be our rule.
yeah. Well, and it's kind of like even for bereaved people who ask me, I had this happen where the death happened between the first of the year and spring break. And um, should we still go on our spring break trip? And how many
Mm-hmm.
times have bereaved people asked me, like, oh, we had plans to do this. Should we still do that? Sometimes in grief, we do need a change of scenery, even though we
Yeah.
take our grief with us. I mean, we can't leave it at home, but just a change of scenery for bereaved people is healthy and good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've definitely spoken to people who have done that, who've taken a little trip afterwards just to get away a little bit, um, and just
Mhm,
change the geography a little bit and trying to, you know, and whether it helps a little
mhm,
or doesn't, I mean, it's hard. It's hard no matter where you are. But
mhm.
canceling those things is sometimes not
Yep,
helpful either. It's just, who knows? Who knows?
right. Yeah. Well, everyone has to do like, you know, we are our own expert and we know what we can and can't handle. But sometimes people want to know if it's wrong if they keep up with a vacation, and I don't think it's wrong.
Yeah. So the other thing that we have done since starting back is I have had some people back on the podcast who were on perhaps early
Mhm.
on in their grief, trying to revisit
Yep.
things. So I've had a couple so far on, and one before my break came back. Obviously, that was Hunter's mom. And then somebody wrote to me when I was going on the break saying, boy, hearing from Hunter's mom again was really helpful. Maybe you could do that some more. So I
Mhm.
had Stephanie back on. I so here the week of Andy's birthday. Uh, Caleb's mom's been on in the past. She would like to come back on. So I think this is going to be some nice things too. I was actually almost, I may have Caleb's mom come on a time when you and I are together actually and have her see if she might want to
Oh,
do
that
even a
would be
live stream with
nice.
us. I think that would be nice, don't
Yeah.
you?
Mhm.
I haven't
Oh,
told her, I
very
haven't
much
asked her if she
so.
wants to do it that
I
way
just
yet,
had
but
another thought,
I'm going to.
yeah, and I had another thought.
You
I
know
don't know
what?
about
I'm
Caleb's mom, but
now,
when we were
so
addressing What?
Oh, my AirPods now are suddenly working. So
Okay. Um, I don't know why reached out to Anne, Josh's mom, but even just like knowing that there are many of, I know Michelle, you know, Corbin's
yeah.
mom, that they're doing things that are helping other people. Maybe it'd be fun to have an episode where people write in like how they're now helping other bereaved people.
Oh, I like that. That might be a great topic to
Yeah.
kind of go through to
Yeah.
revisit
Yeah.
with a revisit. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I
And the
like that
pros and
idea a
cons
lot,
of
actually.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the pros
Hmm.
and cons, because you've already mentioned, like, one is it keeps you in your grief and keeps you with newly bereaved people, which can be heavy, but it also helps you realize that you're not in that same space anymore.
I know it's kind of both. It can kind of be both. Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. Oh. Well, other thoughts, other things that you wanted to talk about today? Is we can
I
certainly
don't,
end early. I also
I think
decided that can happen
we
too, that if we end
talked
early, we end early.
about, yeah, I think we talked about everything. I think that was one of the changes that you said that you made, like just allowing it to be, not
As
feeling
long
the
as it kind of
pressure of
needs to
having every
be.
episode have to be an hour, right?
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right. If they're shorter, they're shorter.
Mm-hmm.
It if
Yep.
it's okay. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
either way. I just don't think I think feeling pressure to kind of stretch things out if it doesn't seem like it naturally
Mm-hmm.
should be stretched out is ends up being not good. So
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I go way over. So
Mm-hmm.
people can be happy with a little bit of a short one every now and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. If anybody has
Yeah.
any other comments that they want to throw in here quickly, we certainly can have that. Otherwise, we are fine to kind of sign off a little bit too. I don't think we have. Did we come up with a topic for the
Yeah.
next one? Okay, I was going to say I think we did. What? But what is it again?
You did. You sent it to me.
I did send it to you. What is
Hmm.
it though?
I'm gonna look.
Um,
You did. I'm gonna.
I know I
Isn't
did.
that horrible that neither one of us? Um.
I know. Here it is. Here it
Okay.
is.
Topics. I was wondering about doing one on changing season, changing schedules, and summer in
Oh, that's
particular.
right. Yes, that's what it was. That's what I think will be good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
about that with now we're going into springtime here and how the change in seasons can be really, really difficult. And I don't think we've really had a
Mm-hmm.
time when we've talked about that. I mean, we've talked certainly about change, but I think that seemed like that would be a really good topic. And our next live stream is going to be kind of in that time when we are transitioning to summer, to like thinking about the summer schedule and things like that. Let me see. I
Mm-hmm.
think let's look at the date of when it's going to be. It should be on I believe it's the week of May 18th. So I think we'll probably do it on May 18th, right? That's a Monday night. So that's usually what we do. And that's really the very end of the school year.
Oh.
You're thinking about things like summer vacations
Mm-hmm.
and summer plans and just all of that. I think all the season changing is hard, but I think sometimes going
Mm-hmm.
into summer and going into fall from summer are a little more difficult because even if you certainly if your child died when they're still in the home and still in school and all of that, that's a big thing. But even if they didn't, even if they died when they're adults, you still think back. Like the beginning of summer, you think back
Mm-hmm.
of um, what those summer vacations were like and summer memories and things like that. So I did feel like that would be a good
Mm-hmm.
topic to talk about. Yep. And then Mary agrees. So Mary
Mm-hmm.
just wrote in and said, "Oh, this is going to be great. Change of seasons effect on
Yep.
grief. I like that." So, yeah, that was feeling like a
Yeah.
really good topic for me. So I think that'll be great to talk about. And then we will make sure this time to be on
Mm-hmm.
top of it and put out some questions ahead of time on Facebook and Instagram. I am happy to announce that the
Mm-hmm.
Instagram feed worked beautifully this time, and we had several people watching on Instagram. So I love that. but that means that I can put out those questions on
Oh,
Instagram and not
good.
feel guilty about the fact that the Instagram might not work. So we've got everything working now. There were a few
Okay.
little problems today, but overall, I feel like things are working well. So that'll be,
Mhm.
I think, and I don't know. We'll see about the time, but I think we're going to try probably for this time again. So, 4:30 in the afternoon
Yeah,
Eastern time, I
'cause
think is what we decided. If it seems like other
mhm.
people, if you write in and you have very strong feelings that this is not a good time, we can make some changes. But I think for the most part, I think that's what we're going to try for.
Mhm.
Sound good?
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
Any
great.
closing words?
Okay.
Oh, we had one more comment.
No,
Holly
I
wrote in.
just,
Thanks, ladies. As always, great,
mhm.
useful information. Year two, Jonathan, Forever 21. Thank you so much, Holly, for writing in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry. Go ahead, Gwen.
Yeah. No, I just think that, everybody I think the overall thing that led me today, whether it's a story of the mom on the beach or your listeners or yourself, then we're not meant to do this alone. And we have to find
Yeah.
ways that make us have a little bit of, or, getting education, talking to. I am glad. I know I'm not being self righteous, but I do know that after 38 years of doing this, that I've somehow done something right to keep myself healthy. And I want to say that I've identified that in you, that you knew what you needed to be healthy. And I'm so thankful
Yeah.
for that we can keep helping others because we take care of ourselves. So I want to
Yeah.
salute you on that.
Well, and thank you so much.
Yep.
And thank you again for doing such a wonderful job in February.
Okay.
It really was helpful to me too. I learned a ton and I
Oh, thank
really,
you.
really liked, I felt like everyone got
Good.
better. So thank you for that. And just thanks for being such a great friend.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, thanks.